Well, it's been nearly a week since Gene Hackman's body was discovered. This morning, while authorities have ruled out some scenarios, they still don't know what happened to Hackman and his wife.
We're learning incredible new details this hour about the circumstances surrounding his death. His front door open, scattered pills on the bathroom countertop, one dog in the closet, two still alive on the property.
The quiet and enigmatic life of Gene Hackman, a Hollywood legend turned recluse, has always been a source of curiosity. But what happened in the final days of his life has left more questions than answers, sparking a whirlwind of speculation that refuses to settle. How does a man who spent decades captivating audiences with his performances end up shrouded in mystery, even in demise? Did he take secrets with him? Secrets so dark they could change the way we see the entertainment industry forever? Buckle up, because this story is anything but straightforward.
And here in Santa Fe, Sheriff's Department officials here working behind me have yet another high-profile case on their hands. Aaron, you and I covered at length the Alec Baldwin case, that fatal shooting on the set of the movie Rust. This is the same investigative team that worked that case.
Gene Hackman, the towering presence of films like The French Connection and Unforgiven, was not just an actor. He was a symbol of artistic integrity. Yet, for all his fame, Hackman was never one to bask in the Hollywood spotlight. By the time he retired from acting in 2004, he had already begun to distance himself from the glitz and glamour, retreating to the secluded hills of Santa Fe, New Mexico. There, he and his wife, Betsy Arakawa, built a life far removed from the chaos of Los Angeles. To the outside world, it seemed like a peaceful retreat, but as details of his final days emerged, the cracks in this idyllic facade are impossible to ignore.
As Hollywood gets ready to honor its best at the Academy Awards this weekend, there are still unanswered questions about the death of two-time Oscar winner Gene Hackman and his wife. The couple was found this week in their New Mexico home. On Friday, investigators ruled out carbon monoxide poisoning and revealed other clues that may lead them to determine what did happen.
Hackman's decision to withdraw from Hollywood was not just a lifestyle choice. It was a statement. He had often spoken about the toxic nature of the industry, once describing it as a machine designed to chew people up and spit them out. He rejected the false smiles and back-patting of award shows, famously avoiding the pomp and ceremony of the Oscars despite being a two-time winner. His disdain for the industry wasn't just professional, it was personal. Close friends say Hackman was haunted by things he had seen and heard during his decades in the business. He had a reputation for speaking his mind, but those who knew him well believed there were things he chose not to say, things he carried with him, like a burden.
As well known as Gene Hackman was, neighbors tell us that he and his wife led intensely private lives here in Santa Fe, their longtime home. And while we've been learning more about this case, there is still so much we don't know.
In the weeks leading up to his passing, Hackman's behavior reportedly took a strange turn. Normally reclusive, he began making phone calls to old friends, some of whom he hadn't spoken to in years. These were not casual calls. According to one source, Hackman seemed agitated, as if he had something pressing to get off his chest. He sounded different, a longtime friend revealed, like he was racing against the clock. What could have been so urgent? Was it connected to the secrets he had long kept hidden? When Hackman and his wife were found in their Santa Fe home, the scene raised more questions than it answered. Authorities described the circumstances as puzzling. Hackman was discovered near his cane, fully clothed as if he had been in the middle of his daily routine. His wife, Betsy, was found on the bathroom floor next to scattered medication and an active space heater. The unsettling detail of a deceased dog in a nearby closet added another layer of confusion. Two other dogs were discovered alive, one inside the house and another outside. The timeline of their passing was murky, with Hackman's pacemaker recording its last activity 9 days before their bodies were found. How could a man as prominent as Gene Hackman go unnoticed for so long? And why did the scene seem so staged?
On Wednesday, February 26, 2025, at approximately 1:45 p.m., Santa Fe County Sheriff's deputies were dispatched to 1425 Old Sunset Trail, where Gene Hackman, 95, and his wife Betsy Arakawa, 65, and a dog were found deceased.
To understand the mystery, one has to delve into Hackman's unique relationship with Hollywood. He was known for being fiercely independent, a man who refused to play by the rules of an industry built on compromise. Hackman's disdain for the establishment was no secret. He had turned down roles in major films because of backstage demands he deemed unethical. Rumors swirled for years that Hackman had witnessed things behind closed doors that would shock even the most jaded observer. It's said that he once told a confidant, if people knew what I knew, they'd never look at their favorite stars the same way again. But what did Hackman know? Some have speculated that he was privy to the darker undercurrents of Hollywood, the whispered stories that never make it to the tabloids. His retreat to Santa Fe was, in part, an escape from these shadows. Yet, even in the quiet hills of New Mexico, he couldn't entirely leave the past behind. Neighbors recall seeing unfamiliar cars parked near his property late at night, their occupants never stepping out but simply watching. Hackman, always vigilant, reportedly kept a suitcase packed at all times, ready to leave at a moment's notice. Was this paranoia, or did Hackman have reason to believe he was being followed?
I had the pleasure of working alongside Gene on 2 films, Unforgiven and Under Suspicion. And like everyone who's ever shared a scene with him, I learned he was a generous performer and a man whose gifts elevated everyone's work.
One of the most intriguing aspects of Hackman's story is his alleged collection of tapes. For years, there were whispers that Hackman had secretly recorded conversations with Hollywood power players. These tapes, if they exist, are rumored to contain explosive revelations, details about the manipulation of award ceremonies, unethical casting practices, and even the exploitation of young actors. Hackman himself reportedly referred to them as his lifeline tapes, a safeguard against the industry he had grown to mistrust. Yet, when authorities searched Hackman's home after his passing, the tapes were nowhere to be found. Had they been destroyed, or were they taken by someone who knew their value?
He received 2 Oscars, but more importantly, he won the hearts of film lovers all over the world. Gene always said, "I don't think about legacy. I just hope people remember me as someone who tried to do good work."
Adding to the intrigue is Hackman's behavior in the days before his demise. He was known for his meticulous routine, often taking long walks or working on his writing, but according to neighbors, he had become increasingly withdrawn, even for someone as private as Hackman. He stopped attending his pilates classes, something he had been doing for years, and canceled plans with friends without explanation. One neighbor described seeing him standing by his window late at night, staring out into the darkness. It was like he was waiting for something, they said, or someone. Betsy Arakawa, Hackman's wife and closest confidant, was known for her unwavering support of her husband's desire for privacy. But in the weeks leading up to their passing, she too seemed uncharacteristically on edge. A local contractor who worked on their property described a conversation with Betsy where she hinted at unfinished business that her husband was dealing with. She didn't elaborate, but her tone suggested it was something serious. What was this unfinished business? And could it have played a role in the couple's final days?
Well, first of all, anytime you have 2 bodies deceased at the same place at the same time, that in and of itself is suspicious. And then, of course, the dog also being deceased added to that suspicion. And then the pills being found scattered about. The whole situation really is quite alarming.
Then there's the matter of the scattered pills found near Betsy's body. While it's not uncommon for medications to be present in a home, the disarray in which they were found has raised eyebrows. Were they spilled accidentally, or was this a deliberate act meant to send a message? The presence of the space heater, combined with the signs of mummification on Betsy's body, suggests that she may have been there for a significant amount of time. But why would someone as devoted to her husband as Betsy not have sought help sooner? Could it be that she was trying to protect him from something or someone?
The reason the digital information from both of their cell phones is so important, Natasha, is because cell phones can track movement. And that's what they are going to look into. When did those cell phones cease not only to be used, but cease to move?
The investigation into the couple's passing has been described as both thorough and methodical, but there are those who believe it's being deliberately stalled. Some have pointed to the lack of security footage from the gated community where Hackman lived, a detail that has only fueled speculation. Others have questioned why it took so long for the couple to be discovered, given their prominence in the local community. Could it be that someone wanted to delay the discovery, ensuring that crucial evidence would be lost to time? As the days turn into weeks, the mystery of Gene Hackman's final days shows no signs of being resolved. What started as a quiet retreat into anonymity has become a labyrinth of unanswered questions, each more perplexing than the last. Was Hackman's passing the result of natural causes, or was there something more sinister at play? And what about the rumors of a dark secret, one that could shake Hollywood to its core? The threads of this story are tangled, but one thing is clear. Gene Hackman's life, and now his passing, was anything but ordinary. As we delve deeper into the circumstances of his final days, the questions only multiply. What secrets did Hackman carry with him to the end? And will we ever know the full truth about the man who spent his life playing roles but remained, in many ways, an enigma?
Mean for certain that carbon monoxide as the cause of death can be ruled out. In certain situations, especially when it comes to delayed discovery, postmortem carbon monoxide levels can be unreliable in general.
The mystery surrounding Gene Hackman's final days becomes even more compelling when you consider the broader web of rumors and conspiracies tied to his life in seclusion. While the initial focus has been on the strange details surrounding his passing, a deeper look reveals that Hackman's story may intersect with some of Hollywood's most closely guarded secrets. And let's not forget, Hollywood isn't exactly known for playing by the rules. This is a place where power, influence, and money often take precedence over truth. Could it be that Hackman's retreat from the limelight was more than just a personal decision? Was he hiding from something or someone?
Right now, we don't. Of course, we executed the search warrant yesterday, starting on the evening of the 26th, all into yesterday afternoon. And one of our investigators attended the autopsy yesterday. We don't have more information. We're trying to put things together, put together a timeline when the decedents were last seen or spoken to.
For anyone familiar with Hackman's career, it's clear he was never one to shy away from speaking his mind. Even at the height of his fame, Hackman was known for his blunt honesty, both on set and in interviews. He wasn't afraid to call out what he saw as the hypocrisy of the entertainment industry. He famously distanced himself from award ceremonies, dismissing the Oscars as political theater rather than a genuine celebration of talent. This disdain for Hollywood's inner workings wasn't just talk. Hackman lived it. He turned down lucrative contracts, refused to attend high-profile events, and avoided the social circles that many of his peers embraced. But what if his decision to step away wasn't just about principle? What if it was also about survival? Some insiders believe Hackman's retreat to Santa Fe wasn't just an escape from the superficiality of Hollywood. It was a calculated move to protect himself. Over the years, Hackman had reportedly grown increasingly suspicious of the power structures that govern the entertainment world. He once told a close friend, "The real stories in Hollywood aren't the ones you see on screen. They're the ones that happen after the cameras stop rolling." What exactly did he mean by that? According to some, Hackman had become aware of a series of covert dealings involving major studios, influential producers, and even global financiers. These weren't just business negotiations. These were whispered deals made in back rooms, far away from prying eyes, the kind of deals that, if exposed, could bring entire empires crumbling down.
Here at Epstein's Palm Beach home is where much of the alleged abuse took place. According to court documents, as far back as 2001,
Hackman's reclusive lifestyle only added to the intrigue. Neighbors in Santa Fe described him as friendly but distant, someone who valued his privacy above all else. He wasn't the type to host dinner parties or attend local events. Instead, he spent his days working on his writing, painting, and staying as far away from the public eye as possible. But even in his isolation, there were signs that Hackman was haunted by his past. Friends have mentioned that he seemed on edge in his later years, often talking about the importance of keeping certain things off the record. What could have prompted this level of caution from a man who had already left Hollywood behind?
This is Jeffrey Epstein, multimillionaire, hedge fund manager, businessman with famous, powerful friends, and also convicted offender.
One theory suggests that Hackman was sitting on information that could implicate some of the most powerful figures in the industry. Over the years, he had reportedly confided in a small circle of trusted friends about things he had witnessed during his time in Hollywood. These weren't just petty scandals or tabloid fodder. These were allegations that cut to the core of how the industry operates. Some have speculated that Hackman had evidence of unethical practices involving casting decisions, financial kickbacks, and even the manipulation of public perception through media. While these claims remain unverified, they paint a picture of a man who had seen too much and perhaps knew too much.
The list mentions around 150 people, including politicians, celebrities, friends, business associates, and alleged victims.
Then there's the matter of the missing tapes. Rumors have long circulated that Hackman kept a collection of recordings, audio evidence of conversations he had with Hollywood insiders over the years. These tapes were allegedly stored in a secure location, far from his Santa Fe home, and were said to contain explosive revelations. But here's the kicker. No one knows where these tapes are now. When investigators searched Hackman's property, they found no trace of them. Had Hackman destroyed them out of fear, or were they taken by someone who wanted to ensure they never saw the light of day? The idea of these tapes has become something of a legend among conspiracy theorists, with some claiming they could expose everything from rigged award shows to secret alliances between studios and political figures.
I want to get into this Epstein thing a little bit. I think the American people are very curious about who's on this list, or these lists. You have been doggedly trying to get all the information, and now we learned, thanks to you, that you've been stonewalled by people in New York. Do you want to explain that?
But the intrigue doesn't end there. Hackman's passing has also reignited discussions about his alleged involvement, or at least his knowledge, of larger systemic issues in Hollywood. In recent years, the entertainment industry has been rocked by a series of exposes that have revealed the dark underbelly of fame and fortune. While much of this has focused on individual cases, there's growing speculation that these stories are part of a larger pattern. Hackman, as someone who spent decades navigating this world, was uniquely positioned to understand how these systems operate. Could it be that he had information that tied these individual cases together, forming a bigger, more damning picture of Hollywood's inner workings? The investigation into Hackman's passing has only added to the sense of mystery. While authorities have ruled out certain causes and continue to examine others, many believe the case is far from straightforward. For one, there's the question of timing. Hackman's pacemaker recorded its last activity 9 days before his body was discovered, suggesting a significant gap between his passing and the moment he was found. Why did it take so long for anyone to notice? And what happened during those 9 days? Some have speculated that this delay was intentional, perhaps to give someone time to remove evidence or cover their tracks. Others believe it was simply a result of Hackman's reclusive lifestyle, which made it easy for him to go unnoticed.
So I ended up getting about 120 pages. We carefully redacted them, of course, to be sure the 254 young girls, women who are victims of crimes and trafficking, their personal information was redacted and out of there to protect them.
Adding to the complexity is the role of Betsy Arakawa, Hackman's wife and closest confidant. Arakawa was known for her unwavering support of her husband's privacy, often acting as a buffer between him and the outside world. But in the weeks leading up to their passing, she reportedly confided in a friend that Hackman was wrestling with something that he couldn't share. What could have been troubling him so deeply? And was Arakawa involved in whatever Hackman was grappling with, or was she simply a witness to it? The scattered pills found near her body have raised questions about her state of mind in those final moments. But without more information, it's impossible to draw any concrete conclusions. Even the couple's pets have become a point of discussion. The fact that one of their dogs was found lifeless while 2 others were alive has led some to wonder whether this detail holds any significance. Was it simply a tragic coincidence, or does it point to something more deliberate? Some theorists have even suggested that the dogs could have been exposed to something that affected them differently, perhaps as a result of their varying access to food or water. While these ideas remain speculative, they highlight just how many loose ends remain in this case.
There's a number of things that could be redacted. The first thing that you're going to be thinking about is confidential information as to survivors' names, addresses, and other identifiers. Redactions can be as specific as that, or they can be generalized. And you're usually either working under some type of confidentiality agreement, some type of statute, some type of code.
As the investigation continues, one thing is clear. Gene Hackman's story is far from over. The enigmatic life and final days of Gene Hackman continue to captivate and confound. As we ponder the secrets he may have taken to his grave, we are left with more questions than answers. Did Hackman's knowledge of Hollywood's dark underbelly play a role in his reclusive lifestyle and eventual passing? And what about the rumored tapes? Could they hold the key to unraveling this mystery? Share your thoughts and theories in the comments below. Let us know what you think really happened in those final days. Until next time, stay curious and keep the conversation going.